Hey guys, it's Sam on another episode of Strategy Solutions and Sanity. We're continuing our series about the failures in business that made me lose my sanity. And I have gone back and forth on exactly what failure I was going to share for this episode. I teed it up last week about just a selfish ambition, just letting selfishness get in the way of something in my business. And unfortunately, I do have a few different examples of that and just the hard lessons learned over time in my business. And this particular lesson, I just really did not want to open up about. And then I realized I promised you guys that I was going to share the failures and not just the ones that are all pretty tied up with a bow with a fail forward lesson, but also the things where sometimes I just fell on my face and I had to learn a hard lesson. And there was no awesome moment that came after learning that lesson. It was just take it for the next time. So I am going to share a failure around a sales deal. And I'm not a sales coach. I have invested a lot in sales training for myself in my business, but I'm not a sales coach. So this is not some secret ploy to then tie back to some sales lead magnet. This is just I had a failure. I had to fall on my face and learn a lesson the hard way. So here it is. I let my own selfish ambition completely overprice a proposal, and I lost a really huge deal over that proposal being overpriced. So, this proposal in particular was for a variety of services that did address most of what the customer needed, but also just had some extra stuff that I really wanted to be able to do on a project. And I hadn't done any market research behind it. I just really want to test out this new line of service and include that in the proposal. And it still did tie back to their goals and some of their current challenges and pain points. But where the overpriced effect really came in to play was I had in mind an extension project, something or service that I wanted to offer once the initial project was completed. And I wanted that extension to be priced at a certain point. And so I priced the initial work at a certain point, which means that that pricing had nothing to do with the customer's budget, nothing to do with where this particular project lined up with their priorities and really the value of what I was giving. And, there are things around pricing strategies, especially for consultants that are maybe solopreneurs around, hey, understand the number of clients that you want to work with, whatever your client capacity is, and then the revenue that you want to make for the year. And then you can understand a pricing strategy around that alongside what the market is willing to pay for, right? Well, this proposal was not priced with either of those perspectives. It was simply priced with what I wanted the extension work to be priced at. And keep in mind, this is extension work for a project that I hadn't even closed yet. This is a theoretical extension that does not exist. I first needed to land this project, and I was just a little too cocky in the proposal process and really thought, hey, I got like a 95% chance of closing this client. For sure, I'll close them. It'll be an awesome project and they'll want to continue working with me. So I had a little bit of this arrogance and a little too much selfishness leading my ambition rather than the humility to take a step back and really always keep the customer in mind, which I do for most of my work. But every now and again, you just lose sight of who are you actually creating this work for? Are you doing it for yourself or are you doing it for your customer? Now, there have been instances in the past where I did miss the mark on pricing. I didn't dive as much as I should have into budget questions during the discovery process and presented pricing that did scare some prospects. But in a lot of those moments, I was able to recover and just talk through kind of some discovery budgetary questions again and redo the proposal and redo the pricing and close those clients. Again, most of those conversations were led with humility and a customer value mentality. This particular proposal, I totally just botched it with the pricing. I thought that if the pricing would scare them off, that we'd be able to talk through it. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I lost connection with this client. I wasn't able to follow up with them. I wasn't able to revise the pricing structure. They just ghosted me after the proposal meeting. So this was one of those moments where, man, hard lesson. I just fell on my face. It was not a pretty fail forward moment. It was not a pretty, I priced this wrong, but I still recovered them and this is how I did it lesson. It was just, I completely missed the mark. And I have to take the lesson with me into the next proposal meeting that I have. And that happens in business. There are moments that are not pretty. There are moments where you don't get a second chance. You have to make sure that that first opportunity completely hits the nail on the head. And if you mess up, that's it, right? And you have to understand how to pick yourself back up and keep moving forward. So just know, even the people that seem like they have it all together, there are plenty of moments that they have failed and they did not fail forward. They failed, they tripped, they rolled down the hill, landed on their face, and then brushed the dirt off and got back up. So I hope that sharing a little bit about my failures helps you to avoid some of the same mistakes that I've made and also just have some encouragement and some motivation to keep moving forward.